Hi guys, welcome to Idea Drop. Let me tell you a little bit about us. Kendall is like the mom you wish you had when you're starting a business. Wait, I want to redo that. Can I redo that? That was total Hey guys, welcome to Idea Drop. We start businesses, or at least we try. Just give you a little bit of background. Kendall is like the business mom you always wish you had when you're starting a business, and I'm like your frat school brother that brought a keg, and I'm always down for a good time. Kendall, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm hungry.
I'm so hungry.
Hence the pizza.
Yeah, you mentioned that you wanted to talk about time management, and then we ordered a pizza right before we started the podcast. I'm going to guess that feeds into that.
Yeah, it's kind of like, all right, we're going to do the podcast. I got a meeting afterwards, had a meeting before. I had to pick up a sick kid from school.
Nice.
So we call the pizza place and we say, hey, can we get pizza at the studio? Right? You just got to smoosh things together sometimes. Roll with the punches.
I love this pizza too, so I have no problem with that.
It's really good. So today I want to talk, so I want to get into time management strategies a little bit. I am an evolving human on that. I've got some things that I've been good at and some things that I'm not yet good at. And I can speak right to the evolution because I'm in the present of it.
Dude, keep going. Sorry, you do that.
Yeah. And then there are some ventures going on that I'd like to discuss because I think they're very interesting. One of the concepts there is we're going to get into how to buy a business instead of build a business. You got to buy it first and then you can grow it. But what do you want to talk about? Do we have to announce a winner from last week's contest?
That's the big thing I want to talk about this week. It's funny, and there's a whole story behind it. But yes, that's one of the things. I have a few business ideas I'd like to talk to you about. I have pizza in my mouth. It's so freaking good. Okay. I have a YouTube channel that I think would work. I have some business ideas. I have some variety ideas. I've got a club I wanted to talk to you about. But let's start with the So what happened, guys? Let me give you some background. Our social media manager said, "Hey, we need content for social media." So I whipped on my camera and I busted out like in 2 minutes, like 40 different tiny clips of like, "Hey guys, you blah, 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 blah," right? And she decided to post one where I was offering to give away $500. That was mostly a joke because what fool would ever give away $500 for 25% of whatever business you're starting? Maybe if I had a child and it was a lemonade stand or something like that. Yeah, that's a terrible, terrible thing. But right now, I think...
Weren't there 22 people?
Yeah, there's a lot of responses. I have all the responses right here.
22 people submitted an idea for that.
And we got to be careful about what we say because I think I'm a man of my word. So I have to send $500 to somebody. But you also got to give me 25% of your business. So I want to go through some of those ideas. You want to hear a few?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Bosscastic says he wants to do an app that texts you when you need to come home to get out of awkward situations. So like if you're on your first date and... you just need somebody to say, "Hey, the blah, blah, blah is happening. Oh, sorry, man, I got to go. This is important." I think that's a great idea. I think $500 will not get you anywhere with this idea. But I love this idea.
I'm not sure how it monetizes.
Yeah,
but
not even a little bit.
I love it.
His second
your kind of business.
It was really funny. Yeah, totally. His second idea was a dating app for people with STDs. That's hilarious. Again, I don't see how it works. Mediciv said he wanted to do a grill cleaning service. Yeah, that would work. $500 would get you pretty far with that, actually.
I'm not sure what that means. So like if I go get braces and you're like, "Hey, I've got these toothpicks."
Like a grill, like you're at your house. I always thought it was at your house. Like I'm
joking.
Like a food grill. Oh, I'm bad at jokes. What are those?
Would they like pressure wash your grill? Like, I mean, I cleaned my grill this week, actually. So it's interesting that he brings that up because last week it lit on fire. Which is bad where we live. You don't want things lighting on fire here. You might kill people on accident.
True. Yeah, but I just scrub mine. That's all I do. And then I throw away the grease.
But then the little things...
on the bottom.
They drop in, and then those eventually build up and light on fire, which was the case.
You buy a new grill.
Right, disposable grills.
That's what I do.
It's a grill subscription.
I've never actually paid good money for a grill. I always get them from people. Yeah, so I don't really care. One person said a van for freight delivery. Their smarter idea was a pizza vending machine. That's really funny. I love that idea. I really love that idea. I don't think it'll work because you'd have to the pizza would have to somehow be non-perishable. It'd live in there for God knows how long. And I guess you could just put like
I was picturing like a layered, like, they cook it on the, the conveyor belt.
yeah.
I was picturing one that kind of like,
But it's a
like
vending
S's.
machine. Like imagine, but imagine this is in a college campus, and you're like, oh, you want some pizza, Fred? Well, it's 3 a.m. We got to go to the vending machine, and you go there, and somehow it works. I don't think it'd work, but I love the idea. Heck, if you can find a way to work, I'll give you $5,000.
Dustin's just throwing out promises.
I know. Apparently so. This person had a great idea. It's called Rent a Drone, mail order delivery of a DJI Magic Drone. And then you get it for a week, and it takes you through an online flight school to learn all the ropes. Great for real estate agents, wedding weekends, kids sports events. Affordable instead of spending $800 for a drone that you're going to use 10 times and crash. Yes, that is a good idea. However, it's already being done. There's a company called Lens Rentals. Whenever I have to do things like that, I go through them. They charge $250. I think you could charge $180, still make a killing.
And beat them?
Yeah, I definitely think that would work. So you need not that much money to start this business. $3,000 would get you.
It's a drone rental business, so you could just set it, and it's mostly regional. So it's just like you put yourself on.
I mean, you can just mail it anywhere. Yeah.
Oh, you mail it?
Yeah, mail them a drone.
Is that currently what you're using? Someone mails you a drone, you use it, you send it back?
Yeah.
And what happens if you don't send it back?
They charge you for the drone.
So they have your credit card on file.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
It's great. That would
wow.
work.
What else can that apply to?
Oh, anything that's
we need to think
enough.
right now. What are the other expensive things? So it's annoyingly expensive, and it's a one-time use at least per year. Like maybe that's the framework. I use this once every few months, or doesn't justify ownership.
Yeah, I do this when I fly places and I have to rent a car. See, there's your best example right
Smaller.
there.
So smaller than a bread box. It needs to be smaller than a bread box.
Yeah.
It needs to be more than $700 to buy.
Yeah.
And it needs to be less than $3,000 to replace, because they're going to give you a credit card.
I could see how coders could maybe do this with like super souped up, like
Gaming machine?
yeah, like a Linux machine or something like that to run like a very complex code. I've done some funny things in my past. I did a face swap thing, and I needed a computer powerful enough to do that, and it took like a really beefy one, and I had to borrow a friend's computer because mine couldn't handle it. So I could see maybe renting one of those.
It'll come back with bugs.
Definitely. Definitely. Big time bugs. Okay, hold on. I'm getting phone
So I'm
calls.
sure that's good for audio gear.
Yeah, you can do fancy mics, fancy anything like that. This guy had a lot of other ideas though. But yes, I don't know what I would use it for. I know I would use it for things though, for sure.
Yeah.
Tools. I rent tools all the time.
Oh, there you go. So the tools specifically that are smaller than a bread box,
Yeah.
but they're expensive.
A drill press,
That's pretty big.
Yeah, it's
A
really
planer. Have you seen the planers are,
Yeah.
they're about a bread box size, but they're $700.
Yeah. Man, that's a good point.
Needed rarely.
Yeah, I just go to my dad's house and borrow it from him. But
Yeah,
yes.
and most people in bigger cities, they don't have like, their dad with a tool shed. People don't have sheds; they have storage units.
This person, the real TK, yeah, that's what it is. He's really smart. He gave us 4 ideas. That was one of his 4. Second one is, he said, it's like WaterTech floor mats, but it's CNC cut Baltic plywood storage compartments for your vehicle trunk and cargo area. Comes as a flat pack kit, and you assemble it, custom measured to your make and model. Think van life interior, but smaller and in an SUV. That's a great idea.
These are custom floor mats from a CNC machine?
No, it's like that. It's like custom storage kits for your car, I think.
Oh, custom storage kits for your
Yeah.
farm. Heck yes.
Yeah.
Yes, TK. What's his name?
The real TK.
The real TK.
It's a good idea.
Couple things. My friend Rodney made one of these for the back of vans, because people who have this issue are me. I have a minivan. In fact, today I was discussing with my wife, should we get a second Honda Odyssey
you
2022
should, man.
that is white? Like if we had 2 new white minivans, I think that would be hilarious. Those are our car options. But we have 5 kids. The smallest is a little baby, still breastfeeding, and the oldest is 10. So we have a packed car and then all of their stuff. So if we go anywhere, not only do we have a stroller and all the pack and play and the baby stuff, you saw me bring this to the studio today. But also, I've got blankets, stuffies, change of clothes, extra food, waters. I mean, it is a lot of stuff. Organizing that stuff without chaos, like think of us going to the beach. It is chaos. All of that stuff is so hard to organize. And if you don't organize it, you're punished. Life beats you up, spits you out. He made trunk storage out of like CNC'd wood. So it's at the bottom. It's the base of the van, right? So I can lift that up and pack in diapers and let's say all that stuff you rarely use. But then I can still pour my stuff, stack my Tetris things on top of it. But what's the U version of that in the...
Wait, did he sell it? Did he just make it from... He sold it?
He made a prototype and then he sold it to people like me for too much money. Because he had to make them manually.
How much?
I think they were like $800 each, but they were custom fit to the actual thing. But if you can get that price down to like $150...
You can make it a kit. Yeah.
I want to be able to change like the shelves, like how they...
This is a good
the
idea,
slots.
but his next idea is a great idea. You ready for this? The Real TK, at the Real TK, you're my hero. I love this idea. It's called cheap ass frames. Picture frames are too expensive. We sell them barely above cost, but we sell them wall, side, back. So the back is a space for like advertising. I disagree with the ad space. I just think you should sell really cheap picture frames.
That's a funny take. Like he's like, where should an ad be? On the back of a picture frame, of course.
Yeah. I mean, that's hilarious to me.
It's funny.
But you should sell cheap picture frames. It's true. They're very expensive. I think you could do it way cheaper.
So when you started saying the thing about the back, I thought the way he was going to do it cheaper was I'm going to remove the back because the back is a wall.
Yeah.
I just provide the slot. So why can't you just hang up the picture frame, then drop in your picture?
There might be structural problems if it's big enough. If it's small, it'll be fine.
It depends on
No,
how
you
you
could just
build
do
it.
like braces.
Yeah. There's ways to do this.
There are ways to
and
do
I know
this.
there's frames that already are backless with the braces you're describing, but
Oh my gosh.
I like leaning into that on the marketing. I like that.
There's so many messages here. I'm gonna rattle them off, and I want you to stop. Tell me to stop when it's a good one. Okay, a real estate podcast, a moving company. Hey, we already talked about that. An app called Shadow that allows you to learn from trades professionals, like short-term internships.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, I like that too. That might be. That kind of goes back to the college idea we had. Instead of remember when we pitched that? We made it up on the spot.
But what if you could get paid to be shadowed and there was a method? So it's kind of like taking an internship except for not illegal. Like in California, unpaid internships are illegal.
It's kinda sad.
But this is almost like something you could charge them. Like, look, you don't have to do it. I don't need you. But you can be a fly on the wall as I go through my whole day. Here's what you get. You get access to my contracts. You sign an NDA. You are not allowed to talk about any of this. But you literally get access to my calendar. You get access to my emails. You can't edit anything, but you get to see it all for 90 days. How much are you paying me for that? Depends on what I do. I like that.
I would pay for this, actually.
I would pay for this. Right now, I would be a shadow of an M&A lawyer. And the M&A lawyer goes, okay, Kendall, that's going to be $3,500 to be one of the digital shadows for the next 90 days. I would pay $3,500 for that.
I was going to say I would pay a lot. Okay, that's a great idea. That one's by the original Christabel. Cool name. Cleaning products, Black Soldier Fly Farm. Low startup when we pick up people's food and scraps to make more flies. Customers is everyone who has a lawn, getting lawn companies to dump their waste, providing them a service. Remove old food from restaurants, coffee grounds, people cut trees. And I don't understand what you're selling. You're selling flies. I got to read this again. The Black Soldier Fly Farm, low startup, and then we pick people's food up, scraps, and make more flies in high quality soil.
Yeah. So
do you understand this? What do you use flies for? I've never used flies.
Making higher quality soil.
You actually use them? Mm-hmm. You farm flies for soil.
So it's a fly farm, and they're improving the nutrient-rich soil. I'm not sure how all that exactly works, but yeah, that's a thing. But I don't know what your $500 is going to get you. If you can get 25% of a huge fly farm that
10
exports
out of 10
soil,
for ideas. That's a great idea.
I don't know if it's a 10 out of 10 on doable.
Okay,
or enjoyable.
It's Bob King says, for $500, we could totally build out a Glide app that is Tinder style for food picking app called Dinner or Starve. I love it. I think you're totally wrong. You're going to need $5,000 at least for this.
It could be a no-code app. Maybe he's a developer.
Actually, yeah. I've done no-code apps before. Yeah, you can totally. But marketing, I don't see the marketing there. But this is a good idea. Man, there's so many good ideas. I only have $500. Good thing Kendall has offered to triple that amount. But he wants 100% of your company.
No, I don't. Dustin's lying. Okay, I think A, you have to pick a winner.
Yeah.
B, you have to message them and say, hey, I was joking about 25% of the company, but I'm happy to send you $500 for something. What do I get?
Should I? Yeah,
just
no,
ask them.
I'm trying to think about. Should I just ask them?
They might want to do it with you, or they might want to.
I don't mind. So I have. We should talk about this when we get to time management. I have a lot of projects right now, so I actually say no to more things than I say yes to. But this could be an interesting. Like, let's see what happens if we engage with people in this way. 25% is outrageously too high. Maybe 2% would make more sense. If it's complete, it's just at inception.
Is it a real company? I don't know.
Well, okay, here's what they get. If I send them $500, $500 is nothing. What they get is my network and their network pooled together, right? So that is worth. They get a partner, basically.
This all feels very weird to me. I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole, but you did, and you might be a fractional owner of a fly farm now. You could actually start selling timeshares at the fly farm.
Okay, this one. I should give it to this person. Jessica Aiken says, buy a secondhand vending machine off of Facebook Market and let it make some easy cash for you. That will work.
A secondhand vending machine?
Yeah, I think you'd have to spend more than $500 for a vending machine, but I think that would work. I think that would work great. Yeah. All right, Jesse, if you reach out to me, I will give you $500 for this.
You should do it. You should do a loan instead of equity. I think it makes way more sense to do small loans. Microloans are an actual thing.
They are.
That work for actual reasons. So maybe you can do a convertible note. Do you know what a convertible note is?
No.
A note is a loan. Another word for loan. You have an interest rate. Let's say it's 10%. And you want that note paid in full in 2 years. So let's say in the next 2 years, you want your $500 back plus 50 times 2, essentially about $600. And Jesse would have the option to convert that to equity at a pre-negotiated rate. So, or if you can't service the loan, I get 25% of the business. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And she just makes you monthly payments of like whatever it is, $36 a month.
Yeah, this is great. Actually, this is I have heard of this. I'm so sorry. Yeah, this is great. This is great if you want to expand your company and you have to acknowledge that there's a risk in it. Yeah, super smart. Okay. Hi, Kendall. I want to go into some questions for you. Number one question that I have for you is, time is a hard thing to do well. And I have some very strong opinions. Yes, I do. I surely do.
Interesting.
I'm really, really against the whole optimizing every moment of your life.
Oh, amen. No, you can't.
No.
You can't. You shouldn't. Don't even try.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
awful.
And the people who do it, they're usually assholes. I hate to say it like that, but I don't like being
I would
around those
just
people.
say mentally unhealthy.
Yeah, but like them being an asshole is like the only way they can handle it.
You get what you want out of life more often than not. I think people should be very, very careful with what they want. Be very intentional about what you actually want because you tend to get it. And if you were to actually look and put someone on the spot and dig and get to the truth of what they want, usually they haven't really thought about it. They think they know what they want, and it has all kinds of issues because they're going to get it, and it's going to come with things that they didn't foresee. People tend to get what they want.
So when
you fill up your whole schedule, and you push for efficiency, you'll do it. If you make that your goal, super efficient, and you won't get what you actually wanted.
No, you'll just kill yourself. And here's the thing. I think there's a really big problem with imaginary work. Imaginary work is a huge.
Bring it.
Right. So, number one, when you're trying to figure out what you should do with your time, absolutely figure out what is the highest leverage thing you can do. Right.
Okay.
And then do that. Now, the things around those can be imaginary. I had a friend who was starting a business, it was a consulting business. And this person spent so much time trying to pick the best font for her business on the Facebook, and the best this and the best that.
How long did it take for the best font?
Like 2 weeks of just like micro design details, which is really, really, really dumb. When in actuality, like I wanted to scream at her, honey, go get a customer. It's kind of harsh for me to say it like that. But so there's imaginary work. It's just like imaginary time saved, right? You look at a person in a coffee shop and they're like, I'm shopping for this one thing and it costs $3,000. You've been looking at this for 14 days in a row. If you had worked for just 14 days in a row instead of trying to find
you'd be a lot closer to that $3,000.
Yeah. You saved $2 an hour right there. Good job, buddy. Anyway, so all that goes into saying it. How do you structure your priorities with this?
Yeah.
How do you do it? How do you do it, Kendall?
Yeah. So there are when you get married and when you have kids, the first thing you do is you surrender a portion of your life to them. So it's not in my control, and I don't override that. So first I make sure what is it that they need and want. And then I secondly think about, okay, what do I want within those constraints? So a long time ago, my wife and I negotiated when I started doing business stuff. We negotiated like our future expectations of time, like 40 years ahead of time. So we were talking about retirement. I hate retirement. I hate the word. I hate the concept. I never want to stop building things that I think are valuable. Money is just a tool to help us build things that are valuable. Why would I stop building things when I'm 75 or whatever the hell if I think that I can build something that's valuable for the world? I wouldn't stop. I wouldn't retire. So that begs the question of like, okay, well, what does your family expect of you? So I kind of got sign off on like for the rest of my life, I want to work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So we kind of said, I'm going to work full time until I die, but I will take off tons of time, vacations, time. I'll build in flexibilities and options for my family. So I live that now. So that was maybe 8 years ago. Fast forward to today, I live a very close family framework to that. But within my work, then I look at what do I actually want out of my life and how do I get it? And so what I want, so for me, it's not necessarily numbers related or even people related or influence related or any of those. It's kind of like, oh, I want to be a part of something. And if I can't find it, I guess I'll build it. I want to be a part of something. And I want other people to feel like they're a part of something. And if we can't find it, let's build it. And then I want to not do stupid things with my time. So maybe I need to be in charge of my world. So I am in charge of the things that basically nobody can make me do stupid things with my time. So I only want to do things that I believe in with my time. Well, then I get to backwards engineer, like just kind of infinite building. I get to play in the principles of like, I just want to make things better. This room, I have so many ideas in my head. I would want to make this room better, this studio better, but it's not on my priority list because I don't think it affects people positively enough. There are other things I do that have a net positive effect that's greater. So I don't look at a binary, I want to be a billionaire or I want to have $10 million liquid, or I don't look at any of those things. I just look at, I want to infinitely grow and I want to infinitely work with people or live life with people that I like. Hence the podcast with you.
Hey.
I like this. This is a good time every week.
It is a good time.
I like it. I like that it's on my calendar, right? That it means something else is not on my calendar. So then there's a whole how I manage that. That's a different topic.
Okay, I have a couple of thoughts for you. All right. Thought number one.
What is the name of my conference? It's build mode. Thank you. Thank you for that question.
No. We're going to get there.
Oh, okay.
Kendall's throwing a conference. Also, Kendall brought a laptop into the room in the shape of a desktop computer. It's so funny. People don't know this about you. For me, it's like normal at this point. He carries this giant ass computer around everywhere he goes as if it's a freaking like laptop, and it's really small for a giant computer, but still, it's
I need the 24-inch Retina, man. I need it.
yeah, no, it's nice. It's really nice.
It's so precious.
Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. So, number one, this is an important thing. Figure out what your goals are. Now, your goals are really, really interesting because they're pesky little buggers. They change. A 5-year-old's goal is probably a 5-year-old boy. Me at 5, I think I wanted to take over the world, and
Like Pinky in the Brain?
yeah, I was obsessed with toy guns and I had all those normal things, right? But then you get older and those ideas change. And typically how those ideas change is you get face to face with reality of like, oh, I thought I wanted this, but once I look at it close enough, I don't really want it that much, right? Yeah. So I really was, I romanticized the idea of war, right? And then you kind of sit with it long enough and you're like, people die.
Oh, I don't like war
anymore.
This.
This is gross. Yep. I want to do everything I can do to avoid that, right? So that happens by looking at your goals in the face and really sitting with them long enough. And then that helps you build new goals, right? So number one, do better goals. If you're really, really, really overly passionate about something, look at it and really think it through because there might be a goal behind that goal that you actually care about more, right? So that's number one. Number two, figure out a way to have it in your life. Have you heard the fallacy where people, they will do every single thing that's urgent, even if it's way more valuable to do the thing that's 3 months off? You ever heard of this?
Yeah. I mean, we all. I don't know that I've heard of it. I've lived it.
Yeah, absolutely. And for some reason you think, I have to do this, even though like if you accomplish this one thing, you're going to be set up in 3 months. And that's got you a huge runway. So all this goes into saying, the big question I have here is, how do you structure your time? Now, I ask this because Kendall is obsessed with this brand new app called Motion, and he's getting us all on board with it. And it's hard for me. It's hard for me to like organize my day. Is it a good tool for you so far, though?
Well, it's hard for you because it's too many degrees away from your habits, but it's not that many degrees away from my habits. So it's easier to adopt anything that's 1 degree of change. So I'd say for you, it's 2 or 3. And for me, it's 1, right? If you look at your contracting background and what you were doing for work before. But for me, I already managed a calendar very similarly to Motion, and I had tasks. I use ClickUp for my tasks, or I use Asana for tasks, or Monday. Excuse me, my mouth was full. We were still really hungry when we started the podcast.
I know.
I skipped breakfast this morning. I woke up at 5. I started work.
Gosh, that's great.
Closed a deal this morning. I'm very excited about. So Motion, for anybody who's listening who's in Silicon Valley, this is a bore. This is a snooze. This is old news. But Motion is new news to most of the world, and most of the world will never find out about it. But essentially, it was a Silicon Valley busy CEO's way to keep up with the calendar and tasks. And tasks take time. All tasks take time. So you're lying to yourself if you just enter tasks and you don't assign them time. Now you're like out of reality. Reality is tasks take time. So instead of 10 tasks, I have 6 hours and 45 minutes of tasks. So it converts 10 to time, right? And then if I miss a task's deadline that I set for myself, it reschedules it and puts it on my calendar. So if you go, hey, let's do another podcast recording, and I deem that as higher priority than half my tasks, Motion will automatically fit it in tomorrow or the next day and then shuffle my tasks within 3 days forward. And it will allow them to be 3 days old. But anytime it's 4 days old on a task, it now gets thrown back into my next 3 days. So it is like having an assistant thinking for you about, oh, he really does need to get his dry cleaning done. I've never done dry cleaning in my life. He really does need to go buy new shoes. That's true. I need new shoes. And that takes time. That will take me an hour and a half. So when am I going to do that? Never right now. It does not show up. But if I put it in as an item and I assign it an hour and a half, then I can go actually spend an hour and a half picking shoes.
Yeah, that's pretty good, I guess. Yeah, you're right. I definitely structure my time differently. I think about it, I would say probably differently than you as well.
Different constraints.
Well,
different opportunities.
Sure. Yeah. Same opportunities. I think I can do whatever I want. You can do whatever you want. How I think about
I can't.
No, you can find a way to figure out if you want to do something, you can figure out a way to do it, right? So like, let's say you're like, oh, I want to do this with my wife. I'm going to figure out a way in my schedule to make this happen, kind of thing. That's what I'm getting at. How I work around my schedule is it entirely different. I'm like the weekend warrior kind of guy. So my weekends subsidize my weeks. So when everybody's off on the weekends, that's when I make all my money. Why? Because I want 5 days a week to be an entrepreneur guilt-free. So that's what I do.
So you just push the weekend, generate cash, and then you get to take more risks. I mean, I would just say they're the same. You're working either way.
Sure.
But on the weekend, you're taking a bird in the hand. It's the least risky thing for the most liquidity, right? And the liquidity becomes a tool, which you pay your rent with, or you invest in a venture. Then you take your time risk on Tuesdays.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So a lot of people, when they think of, man, how do I have time to start a business or a side business? There's kind of like layers to do it. First layer is find a job that you can get overpaid for. And by overpaid, I mean anything up to $40 an hour is like, you're just good at your job. Anything above $40 an hour, they're paying you for stress or something really, really strange that nobody else can handle.
I like that. That's a good line. I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, because I'll pay. Yeah.
I'll pay you to go bald. I'll pay you to have an aneurysm.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. So I do some stuff that gets me anywhere between $50 to $100 an hour on the weekend.
Yeah.
And then during the week, I do crazy fun business ideas with you.
For almost free or at a loss.
Yeah, at a loss. Yeah. No, absolutely. Or just a J curve of my time.
Yeah.
Understanding things like that.
Right.
So yeah, I don't think of it like you do. You have different constraints than me.
Different constraints. Yep.
Which is interesting.
Which I don't think most people should use a tool like that. I think most people just have to pick, like you were talking about earlier, goals and priorities. But I mean, I have 5 little constraints walking around, and some of them poop, and I clean it up. Last night, I was, this is not an exaggeration, and this was not planned, right? This is not a story for the podcast. This is just my life.
Yeah.
I had a hungry wife. She wanted sushi. Sprouts was the only thing open with sushi at the time because it was like 8 or 9 p.m. or something. I had a sick kid yesterday. The sick kid needed to go potty. I went in and got my wife sushi. She breastfed the baby in the car while I walk in to get sushi. This is just my life. I get a text. I'm in the checkout line. Hey, the 5-year-old needs to go potty. No. And then I'm like, okay, I'm almost out. I check out. I take the sushi back to my wife. I hand her sushi.
Is it too late?
I pick up the 5-year-old and start walking back in. I say hi to the lady who just checked me out. We walk into the bathroom. Boom. My 5-year-old pukes all over my neck.
No.
My chest, my feet, my pants, her pants, yep. Just projectile vomit right in the hallway to the bathrooms. Not even in the bathroom yet. In the hallway. They were so understaffed that there was no one who noticed. I look around like trying to like, hey, can somebody get like a mop or like,
that's so sad.
I'm sitting here like puke on my shirt. This is last night.
I'm not at home. I need some tools that I don't have on me.
So I went in and I took off my shirt in the bathroom. She still had to pee, by the way.
Yeah.
I took off her shirt. I took off my shirt in the men's bathroom. I put her on the toilet. I wiped down the toilet, put her on it. And then I went back and took all their paper towels and toilet paper that I could find and start getting on my hands and knees, cleaning up my child's puke at their store.
That's great.
And while she peed. And then, I literally left Sprouts last night, shirtless, with 2 of us shirtless. And like, I don't care at that point. What do they think? I don't know what they think. They didn't notice.
That's some good quality podcast material right there.
This is, sometimes I'm CEO Kendall. Sometimes I'm just shirtless, full of puke. Yeah. Went home, took a shower. It was great. Had a nice chat with my wife. It was a nice time other than that.
Yeah, that's funny, man. I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Oh, my gosh. All right, well, that's a little bit about time. I've got plenty more time thoughts, but we can always hit that another time.
So I will say this. My wife's in full-time school. We've talked a little bit before about the constraints. What I do right now to optimize to keep up with the 8 businesses and the leadership role, we have about 40 employees, and there's a lot of new things that we're also doing. And then there's things like this that are creative and fun, but also valuable. Mm-hmm. I just have to wake up earlier. I have to go to the gym. I mean, I don't go to the gym, but I have to work out. So I work out at my house. Excuse me. I have to build that in. It takes time. I have to change my diet. Pizza's not great for it. Beer's not great for it. So I'm editing. I'm evolving right now. So ask me in 6 months, like the difference. But right now I have more water in my diet. I have more greens in my diet. I have more smoothies. I also have a different sleep pattern. I go to bed at 8:30 at night now. I still have friends texting me because I've been a night owl my whole life. So I have friends that are like, 11 p.m. Like, hey, what do you want to do this weekend? Nope. I wake up at 5. I go to bed at 8:30. My wife takes the kids to school. I pick the kids up at 2:30. Right now it's 1:18. So I will leave in an hour. We have one meeting coming up.
Yep.
We're going to meet with Dan. And then I'm going to go drive and get the kids. I'll probably take a call on the drive home. And then I'm a daddy. I'm at home. I check into the kids. We got to do chores. We got to do all of that is on my calendar. It has to be there. Otherwise, you'll be like, hey, a quick thought on this venture. I just want to do a quick call. And I'll have to like give you reasons why I'm not available. So I felt like I was always making excuses, but I don't want to do that. I want to be like, I don't have time right now. I do have time, but I come back with an offer. I do have time tomorrow at 9 or tomorrow at 6:45 a.m. or right. So I want to be in a position where I can always come back and make someone an offer. And that's why I run structured.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's awesome.
Book club time.
Sure. You got a book you want to talk about?
Look at this book right here. To Pixar and Beyond by Lawrence Levy. I promised people last podcast we would talk about book club or talk about this book on book club.
Oh yeah.
This book, so this is on Audible. I really like it. This is the lawyer that Steve Jobs recruited personally to structure Pixar when Pixar was tanking. So Steve Jobs had already made a deal with George Lucas to buy this technology that took 2D drawings, physical drawings, put them into the computer, which they would use Max for, right? And then turn them into 3D renderings. So remember The Incredibles, right? Just beautiful, like a type of animation.
Yep. Game changing. First
game
time
changing.
Ever.
Yep. But Toy Story was the first one. This outlines like, okay, Steve Jobs, from his perspective, Steve Jobs called me. We did this type of work to structure this failing company that had bought this technology, and like we didn't know how we were going to fund it. He was losing millions and millions and millions of dollars, and he didn't want to lose millions of dollars anymore. Steve Jobs had just come back to Apple. He had been fired by the board. He had started Next. Then Apple acquired Next because they were failing and they needed Steve Jobs back. So he's back in power on top with Apple, personally funding Pixar, which this is all pre-Disney, right?
Yeah.
Pixar goes to compete with the giant Disney. Disney had $52 million at the box office, was like the record-breaking, I think it was, I can't remember which one it was, maybe like
Pocahontas or something.
Yeah, Bambi or I can't remember which one it was, but they were on top. No, it was Lion King. It was the Lion King.
Yeah.
Right? Set all these records, but way less than a normal film, a normal big box office film. So animation was just like junior time from a money perspective. So they make this deal with Disney to be the distributor. This lawyer helps Steve Jobs do this. They set up this licensing deal. And they don't know how much they're going to get, but Disney's going to be the publisher and release it worldwide so that Pixar doesn't have to get into that crazy Hollywood business. They release Toy Story. Nobody's ever seen a film like it. It also makes people cry, grown men cry. And it does something like $100 million in the first weekend or something like that. So it immediately became first place ever in animation. They immediately are doing better than Disney has ever done. And then they went back-to-back bangers. They kept doing that over and over.
They did. I remember that season of
Cars?
Life.
Remember Cars?
It was so good. Everything was so
Finding
good.
Nemo.
And then eventually emotions have emotions and you're just confused about life altogether.
Dude. So this book follows that from a pretty business nerdy perspective. It's a good story, but it's almost the unheard story of all that drama. I mean, he talks about let's fly down to LA and let's meet with Bob Iger and negotiate. So remember I talked about reading Bob Iger's book?
Yep.
I read about this from Bob Iger's perspective in his book. But then I read about it from this lawyer, Lawrence Levy's perspective next to Steve Jobs and their interactions. Like, it's very fascinating to like triangulate what's the truth. Everybody has their narrative. What's the truth?
Yeah, that's interesting. It's fascinating too because you don't normally think of a lawyer as the person who's doing the negotiation.
You're right.
You think of him as just...
He was a very creative lawyer. He was a business guy trained as a lawyer.
Yeah.
Right.
I get that. That's funny. What are you reading right now?
Right now, I mostly do podcasts. I am reading Jordan Peterson's not new book, 12 Rules for Life.
Nice.
That's old news. But I'm reading it very slowly because it's so dense. And I'm not ready to summarize it because I've only gotten through like 3 or 4 chapters. So mostly podcasts. I certainly watch a lot of like how-to videos. I'm in an M&A course.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I do lots of like e-learning stuff that I have to pay for. It's a lot more expensive than buying $10 books, but
it's nice if they can condense that information. I often feel like books are 300 pages that really could have just been 100.
Yeah, just give it to me straight.
Yeah.
I'll pay you extra to give it to me straight.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you save me time.
That's so funny. Dude, I was listening to, I'm going through the book, The Tao of Charlie, what's his name?
The Tao? Tail?
Charlie Munger. No, the Tao. Tao is like, it's like your credence, your life. Right?
Yeah. It is. Yep. Charlie Munger, man.
Charlie
That's
Munger.
amazing.
Yeah, it's really good. He's fantastic. I love everything about it. He gives this one piece
He's
of
a
advice,
genius.
and it hit me in the face. I'm not following it, and I was really, really hurt by it.
You were hurt by his advice.
Yeah, it was just like,
Ooh,
dang, dude, I'm
straight to the heart.
Yeah, no, he recommends having $5 million in the bank at all points in time. And it slapped me in the face. I do not have $5 million in the bank. Which it also goes to show, like, oh, this guy is not normal. He doesn't know how to normal people think.
This isn't normal people.
Yeah, this is not at all.
The Tao of Charlie Munger. A compilation of quotes from Berkshire Hathaway's vice chairman on
the
life.
quotes, basically, it's like he says something and then he expounds on it. He's like, never buy early. And then he's like, this is why you shouldn't do this, blah, blah, blah. This is why you should always be liquid in this kind of a way. It's really, really great. The big thing that I take from it is just treat life like a train. There's no quick like solutions to anything. Now, I will say this, when you're starting a business, there are moments that you can be like really fast. For example, if you have an idea, I bet you if you work hard enough, you can make a prototype and a website in a day for certain things. You really could.
True. You just have deep focus and clarity of thought.
Absolutely. But the better life advice would just be go slow and just keep going and do the things long term that you really care about and you really want to do. Don't say yes to the quick normal job. If you get a raise at Taco Bell and you're like, sweet, I get manager pay right now, quit your freaking job and do something you actually want to do and go slow and try to do that. Anyways, it's a good book. You should read it. I'll give you some more thoughts about it another time.
I like that.
I'm only halfway through.
We have 5 minutes until our next meeting. So I'd like to end on this because that was a really good pivot for our listeners. BerkshireHathaway.com/letters/letters.html. Berkshire Hathaway is one of the wealthiest, largest, most powerful companies in the world.
Yeah.
And this is the landing page for these. Welcome to 1998.
Dude, I've not seen this.
So
that's great.
Let's see. This says Berkshire Hathaway shareholders letters. Berkshire Hathaway is re-engineering small business insurance.
Great.
So that hasn't been updated in a while because they do a lot more than insurance.
Okay, so it's really interesting. In the book, he talks about being a lazy businessman.
Yep, they really embody.
He's like, no, you need to be a lazy businessman.
You can't think clearly.
Don't be task rabbit. Not even think clearly. It's like just make slow, deliberate moves.
Yes.
Slow, deliberate moves.
Yes. Warren Buffett's famous for saying, "I'd rather take a year to make one high leverage decision than to make several decisions a day." That is in my face. That is not my life yet. If you look at this, 2021, we have the shareholder letter all the way back to 1977.
I love it.
So I think anybody who wants a quick hack on the mind of a genius needs to go read these letters. And what you want to do, these are written these are written by Warren Buffett himself.
Yeah.
They're not copywritten.
Yeah.
So go in and just get a feel for how he thinks by reading this. It'll be above your head, for most people's head and mine, when you read through it. But it is some of the best summarization of genius and complexity in the world. And this is only 12 pages to describe billions of dollars of transactions that they carefully analyze.
Dude, you know what? One thing from their book that I was really surprised by. You're supposed to diversify, right? They're super against diversification.
No.
He's like, do not diversify. Yeah. Don't do that. If you want to be average, diversify.
Do average things.
Yeah, and everybody diversifies. So all their portfolios are just kind of like wishy-washy in every direction. And they
maximize.
They have like 10. They have like 10 companies.
They maximize.
Which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, they could have thousands. Yeah, so when you read this, if you follow my advice and go here, listeners, and you read Warren Buffett's own words about this year's investments to his shareholders, you will immediately recognize patterns that
this is great. Even just reading the line, alas, there was little action of that sort in 2021. Basically, it's like, we didn't do anything, but you made money.
We did, though, make reasonable progress in increasing intrinsic value of your shares.
That task has been my primary duty for 57 years.
For 57 years, and it will continue to be.
That's so great.
What you own. Berkshire Hathaway owns a variety of businesses, some entirely and some only in part. The second group largely consists of marketable common stocks of major American companies. Anyways, you will learn if you read this. And if you read 10 of these, you will learn a lot. And if you Google while you read the 10 and look up the things you don't know when he mentions them, you will learn a major amount.
I love it.
So
before we go, I feel bad. We didn't present any of our own business ideas. Do you have anything?
Do you have some? I do.
Yeah, I do too. I just don't know if we have time to go into it because we have to.
Well, we could pick one. We could end on an idea.
Okay. Do you have one you want to shoot or do you want me to shoot one?
I'm looking at my list.
Oh, I have a funny one. I like this one.
Okay, go. We'll end on yours.
I want an app that translates pictures into words. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and it could be the more confusing, the better. It's supposed to be ridiculous, and I think it'd be really funny. You go to the website, you attach a picture, and the app just describes everything in extreme detail of what is happening.
Top left.
Yeah. Totally ridiculous.
Some blue pixels.
So picture is 1,000 words.
Some orange pixels that are probably the sun.
I don't think it would make money at all, but you could do ad space in there if you really wanted to. But it'd be fun.
Well, I do think like if you can actually get the machine to be thinking and translating that, there are so many actual practical use cases of that.
Sure.
So I think that could be a cool technology. I'm sure that technology is being formed or exists.
Yeah, we can do the reverse really well now, but we can't necessarily do that. Like
we turn words into pictures with AI, but pictures into words, I mean...
I've not seen it. Tesla's
kind of doing pictures into decisions real time. Like that's how a Tesla works.
You can tell GPT-3 to describe a famous picture because it knows it.
Oh, interesting.
But I don't know if it could look at a picture and be able to describe it.
So if you could summarize the detailed version of it, and get it into layman's terms, I think there's a lot of interesting use cases for that because you could have an earbud in, for example, and it's describing what the video is seeing to you.
Oh.
There's different use cases if you can anchor the core technology.
I didn't even think about the blind, the blind community. That could be really effective. Oh, hey, look at that.
There you go. And you could probably get insurance to pay for it.
Yeah, you could do it.
Right, there you go. Any business insurance will pay for it is going to be high margin.
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's end with that for the day. I will see you next week.
See you next week.